Welcome to the Imagine Golf podcast Beyond the 19th. I'm your host Raj Narayan, and today we catch up with a great friend of mine and Imagine Platinum member Julian Fayad from LoanOptions.ai. Julian shares with us his amazing journey of bootstrapping an AI business and talks about his family values, his amazing work ethic, and the culture he's built within Loan Options, which has really helped them spearhead this business to an award-winning organization. Hope you enjoy. Julian, we've known each other for a couple of years. We've met through various networking groups, but you've been a member of Imagine for a couple of years, attended many of our events, sponsored many of our events, and it's been amazing working with you. And now it's fantastic to have you on the podcast. So welcome.
Thank you so much for having me. Really appreciate it. Yeah.
Fabulous. Look, you have a podcast of your own, and so you're not new to this. And I just thought, look, we might start at the beginning, Julian, learn a little bit more about you and your background and where you come from. If you can share a bit of that.
Yeah. I guess when I left school, I was studying web and app development, and that was my passion. That's what I wanted to do as a career. And I actually accidentally landed in finance, and that was kind of a really good step for me because career wise, it was an opportunity for me to make a good amount of money at a very young age, and but I never gave up the tech side. Like I always just did it as a hobby, and every business I worked in from a finance perspective, I would use my skills and ability to build automated reporting and go through automate processes. So when I was 18 or 19, I built and deployed an app on the Apple App Store.
Fantastic.
So tech has always been like my one true love. If that makes sense, from a very young age, I was always the tech support for the family. And that was kind of where the love for it came in. If you fast forward a number of years, I was sort of in finance broking for 9 years, primarily asset finance, helping businesses access capital, helping them buy equipment and finance the equipment, helping them people get the best deals for car loans and basically everything else except for home loans. That
Loans,
was
yeah.
that was my core experience. And I had a very successful career as a broker before eventually, after COVID happened, starting my own business. And part of the reason for that was I had a sort of a very tech-driven vision for what I wanted finance broking to look like. I started Loan Options after working on a prototype in the background at a job I was previously at. I was a general manager and a minority shareholder. COVID happened. That was a bit of a spanner in the works, and just decided to start Loan Options. And 4.5 years in now, so that's been quite a journey. It's never easy to bootstrap a technology or a fintech startup.
Yeah.
But it's been a great journey with lots of learnings, and I'm really grateful for where we are right now. We've got some amazing technology products. We've helped settle. We should be crossing 10,000 loans any minute now. And so that's more than 180,000 Australians have benefited from our technology. It's growing. The business is growing. It's we've saved people millions of dollars, and I'm very proud of that because I think it's very hard to get access to good finance information or get good deals. You're a small business owner and you're just trying to make it, and you got cash flow gaps, or if you're somebody who's shopping for a car and then the dealership might rip you off or something. If you're not savvy,
Yeah.
using a platform like ours gives you full transparency on all the offers and stuff. So
Oh, that's fantastic. I mean, it's been an amazing journey, 4.5 hours. We'll come back to that a little bit more, and absolutely we'll talk about loan options as well shortly. But tell me a bit more about, obviously you started this business, you thought about starting it during COVID, very interesting time. And interestingly, we started Imagine around the COVID period as well, although I didn't know COVID was going to come. I thought I was between the two. I started early 2021 and I thought COVID was over. Because as a networking group, it doesn't really lend itself to, unlike a tech app, it doesn't lend itself to actually being, viable around a COVID environment. So tell me a bit more. What are the challenges you faced around the COVID, and tell us about a little bit about the early days of Loan Options. And
So we started in a little shoebox office. I call it a shoebox because it was it's a room maybe a third of the size of this podcast studio. It's like
Mhm.
a couple of meters by a couple of meters, and it was just me for a couple of weeks. But by that point, I'd had 9 years experience in my industry, so I knew how to build a business. I'd helped scale multiple very similar businesses for other people, and
Mhm.
this time it was time to do it for myself. My brother-in-law and sister joined me a couple of weeks later,
Mhm.
and we had 4 offices in 14 months. So the business grew really fast, but
Okay.
we had a lot of challenges. Like the business has really only ever known adversity. And
Mhm.
I say that because we was born in COVID, and
Yes,
obviously
that's
there was
right.
a lot of uncertainty around then. And then we had the second round of COVID to deal with, but we also had other issues to deal with, and we had to pivot the business a number of times, like supply chain issues on assets and equipment.
Mhm.
So we went from being a very asset heavy um, in terms of our product split, lots of car loans, lots of equipment loans, lots of truck loans. And then when supply chains were really bad, there was situations where we would be financing, getting an approval for a client, but their car's 12 months away, 18 months
Way.
away.
Mm.
And the way our business model works, we don't get paid until the loan settles from the lender or the bank. So we had this massive order book, but we couldn't bank any money. And of course, in business,
Yeah.
if you're not banking money,
It's really
you're
stressful, yeah, with the
toast,
cash
right?
flows. Yeah. Mhm.
So we transitioned and pivoted to diversify our product split into a lot of unsecured lending as well, and that's where we always did a little bit of it, but we really took up a lot of market share in unsecured personal loans
Yeah. Mhm.
and unsecured business loans, and so
And it probably was a good time for that, right? People were wanting loans because so many changes in their own lives in terms of
yeah, businesses
employment
needed
or
cash flow
business
around
needed.
COVID. People needed to consolidate debts because they were sort of being more mindful of their spending because they were maybe they had their hours cut or
Yes. Mhm.
different things that were going on around that time.
Mhm.
And I think it was like a bit of a financial reset for a lot of people. COVID, they some of them got JobKeeper, and some of them,
Didn't. Yeah.
some of them didn't, and
Mm.
and some of them, were business owners, and then had to like, really reconsider their cost structures and things like that in their business. So that was the sort of the first major pivot that we had, and then of course after we had all of those sort of government subsidies and all that kind of stuff, like just in terms of Australians in general, that caused inflation, and there was a rising cost of living and rising interest rates to combat the inflation,
Yeah.
and so naturally when you're financing, I would call them wants, like what
Mhm.
we finance people's upgrading their cars and new equipment and all these kinds of things. For the most part, they're like
Yeah, they're not
they're nice to
needs, right?
haves.
They
Yeah,
just
they're
yeah, they're
nice
the
to
wants
haves.
exactly.
They don't
Mhm.
need to upgrade their
Mm.
car. The car they have right now is probably just fine. It's just the money was really cheap, and so they would usually think, oh, it's time to upgrade. So when we had to transition from we go through this period and transition to unsecured lending, and then we start having these other issues where interest rates
Are
are
going up.
exploding, and
Mhm.
and so people are changing their decision making process and maybe delaying some things. We then had to look at, is it, refinancing or debt consolidations or helping businesses with their ATO debt, and so the business has only ever known adversity.
And
There hasn't really been a time, um, probably with the exception of maybe the first 6 to 12 months in business where things felt easy. But it's great because what we've built,
it's interesting because usually it's the other way around. First 6 to
yeah,
12 months are the hard bits because you don't have the concept as yet and you're trying to well, you go onto market. I always think it's like building a castle. You have a castle and you open the doors and then well, you're waiting for people to enter this castle. There's no one there.
no, that's
So you
right.
spend all this money and there's a beautiful castle. Now you got to fill it.
And obviously with rising rates and stuff, we then again diversified the business, the revenue lines to software as a service, and
Yeah.
building
Mm.
out the amazing technology that we've built, making it available for other businesses to license, and
Yeah.
so
So
that's
white
just,
label it a little bit to for other businesses.
yeah, exactly.
Hmm.
And that's been really great for us, and we've launched some new products earlier this year. But that's just the story, I think, of every business owner. You're always looking for, okay, what are some ways to grow the business? What are some things that we can do to, diversify our revenue so that we're not too reliant on one channel or one particular source of income, one type of revenue. Having that recurring revenue, I think, means that at the start of each month, we're not starting from zero every
Zero.
single,
Yeah, that's right.
there's a sales thing. I know your team exceptional at sales, and we always talk about sales, you and I. And this is one thing about a sales business that where the revenue is transactional. At the start of every month, you're nobody again. Doesn't matter how
Yeah.
good your last month was. You're
You
starting.
start at zero.
You start at zero again.
I was seeing this video the other day, and it's like Rory. He's won the Masters, and he's walking in, and they say this is like the sales guy at the end of the month. You've won everything, and then tomorrow, your manager's saying, "What's next?" You go, "You had nothing. You've spent. You've
The
done.
pipeline's all
Put
run out.
exactly. You put everything in the on the table to get this big Masters win." And they're like, "What's next? What's happening next week? Where are you playing next week?"
Yeah.
And it's the same. It's the same concept in business. And look, in business, people talk about this all the time. They say 80% of businesses fail in the first year or some statistic like that. And I always think the successful businesses, yes, they have sometimes may have the great concept or sometimes they may have the great product, but a lot of the times they're the ones who adapted really, really well. They're the ones who just pivoted and changed and did different things.
Mm.
And I remember when we were back in the day in COVID times, we started the business early 2021 thinking COVID was over, everybody's out, everybody's taken up golf, golf was booming, great time to start a business. And straight away after 4 months, we go into lockdowns. And we did so many things. We gave out handicaps, we did an online competition, we tried to get other revenue streams because there were so many people who'd lost their job, they couldn't renew their club memberships anymore. Because that's another thing.
Yeah.
It's a want or even a dream want. It's, people just go, that's the first thing they cut, golf membership.
It is a
When the
luxury
subs
item.
come in
Yeah.
June, you're like, cut that. The wife says, cut that off, and that's gone. So yeah, we pivoted as well and did different things. But I think that's the whole challenge I love about being a business
Business
owner or
owner.
being an entrepreneur is just the challenge of the different
You
things.
really have to
It's
enjoy
the
being.
game. You got to enjoy the game.
You got to enjoy being really gritty.
Mm,
Like you have to be super gritty, and now I feel like we've built a really resilient business. So I'm pretty comfortable. But it's everything. Always there's always new challenges. Like every month, there's something new that we have
something
to
new.
contend with. There's some lenders exiting the market, and so that leaves holes in our lending panel of
Mhm.
we used to be able to help these types of clients, and now we can't anymore. There's always new challenges to contend with, so you almost just have to stop worrying about things that are outside of your control,
Yeah.
and you have to develop systems or processes or even a mentality on how to deal with these things. Jocko Willink has that video that says good,
Mhm.
and I love all of his books, and it's like we say that, okay, something bad happens, we say good because now it's an opportunity for us to show how
Sure.
resilient we are, and
Oh,
find an
fantastic.
opportunity
Mhm.
to pivot and pinpoint how we can be better.
It's so true. And my dad used to always say, he says, control the controllables.
Yeah,
If you can't control it, worrying about it is not, it's not going to make it any better. It's just going to lead to kind of, just being unhappy.
it's very very good quote. I think
Yeah.
it's
Contr-
really important for people to just think about what's inside their control.
Mm.
The lender is going to pull out of the market, it's not working for them or whatever. Like you just can't control that. You just need to move forward, and you
Have the
know
systems and things in place that you can immediately adapt and change and do that, which you guys do very, very well. So tell me, I mean, start talking about Loan Options AI. Obviously, it's a big technology app or tool that you've built. Surely in the early days, I mean, how long was the lead time, or how did it come about?
well, I started building this 3 years before the prototype. 3 years before I actually started Loan Options, and I actually
Just
built it.
moonlighting and building this app.
Yeah, well, I was working crazy hours as a general manager in this other asset finance brokerage, and I was a minority shareholder in that business, and I was building it for that business,
Hmm.
and was doing it in my own time, but was testing it, using that as like a bit of a playground to test it and improve it and make it better. And initially, it was like a broker facing tool to help the brokers find the right lender, and the more I built it and the more accurate it got, the more I wanted to move that level of transparency to the customer facing element.
Yeah.
And so allow the customer to put in
See
their
it.
details and see in real time. And so let me just explain for people who haven't heard of Loan Options is Loan Options is an online loan marketplace that allows clients to apply for any type of loan in less than 5 minutes.
Mhm.
And in real time, they can see the actual loan results they'll qualify for from over 90 banks and lenders. And that includes the big four and all the best lenders in the country. And so if you're looking for a business loan, or if you're looking for a car loan, or an equipment loan, or a personal loan, or doesn't really matter what you're looking for, um, we just recently launched and announced the home loan version of that.
Hmm.
So we're not going to do the loan comparison for the home loans, but we are going to let clients apply in less than 5 minutes. And then we're in that model, we're actually going to connect them with Australia's top mortgage brokers, because we're not a mortgage broker. We're an asset finance broker, and a lot of people might not know the difference, but essentially they're highly specialized. Like somebody who looks after residential property, it's a different set of lenders, different set of policies, different set of everything, compared to someone who's a specialist in equipment or business lending. And the different skill sets. You do have some people that say they can do both, but the reality is, let's say there's 90 plus lenders for each product,
Yeah.
and then each of them has multiple sub products. You're talking about someone who's claiming to be a specialist in
Yeah.
maybe
So
a
many.
thousand
Yeah.
products. Like,
Mm.
it's just, you can't be a specialist in a thousand products. So
But that's
um,
interesting, isn't it? So if you connect them to mortgage brokers, obviously they will then come back. How do they get the decisioning in 5 minutes?
yeah, so they can apply in less than 5 minutes. Essentially, if anyone who's ever been through a home loan application, usually it looks something like this. They send you like a PDF fillable form. You got to fill in all your details. It could take you 45 minutes or an hour, and then you got to provide your supporting documents to the broker.
Yeah.
We've built some really intelligent AI systems that allow the client to apply with 3 steps. So, step one, upload your ID.
Hmm.
Step two, connect your bank account, and that's through like an open banking style platform. And step three, upload your payslip. If you're
Yeah.
self-employed, step three is different. You just have to put in your ABN
Again.
number.
Hmm.
And we use a whole bunch of our own internal proprietary technology, um, and what we call an AI autocomplete engine, to read, analyze, contextualize all of that information,
And then
and then pull the
complete the
credit
form.
bureau of the credit file without putting any footprint on it, so it doesn't impact their credit score. And all of that information gets pre-filled for them. So
Oh,
80
fantastic.
80% of the finance application is actually pre-filled for them. And so that's how it's so fast. And from
Look, I
there,
come from a banking background, so I
yeah.
know how big this is because biggest bugbear of every person getting financing is the whole filling of the forms, the due diligence, the whole process takes. It's like pulling teeth.
So, like a traditional bank process might look like filling out, let's say, 45 minutes to be, uh, even let's say 30 minutes to fill out the form. And then it could take days or weeks for the bank to get back to them. So, we've actually built a credit decisioning engine as well, which can automatically decision the loan
Hmm.
based on a specific lender's credit criteria.
Yeah.
So, and that's what we're sort of, I guess, if you want to call it, that's what we're selling into banks and financial institutions, is this ability to take a client who has some level of intent for a home loan right through to an approval in 5 minutes or less. And
Yeah.
not everybody's going to have the ability to provide the approval in 5 minutes. That's dependent on the person who's licensing the technology from us. But from a mortgage broker perspective, we can take that information and push it into their CRM, which then a lot of their CRMs have these decisioning tools that
Tools. Yeah.
tell them, okay, Macquarie Bank is going to be the best option for you, or, ANZ or whatever. And
Hmm.
then they can send those results to the client and let them pick.
Yeah.
But that's essentially what we've built. We've built that
That is, I
platform.
mean, that's really fantastic, isn't it? We'll come back and talk about the
Mm,
AI component of it to build this because obviously you started 4.5, 5 years ago, 3 years before that. So nearly 8 years ago.
yeah.
And obviously AI is the big buzzword at the moment and everybody's talking about it. And it's fantastic to see you had the foresight to build all this so much earlier. And how do you, so integrating it with the mortgage brokers, for example, they will then have to connect to all the system, or they would have to have that knowledge inside their database, isn't it, to be able to decision it?
So a lot of them already use like this major aggregators that they sort of are licensed underneath. And so a lot of those systems already have that platform, and we
Mm,
can connect directly to those systems. So
mm.
the mortgage broker doesn't really need to do anything other than sign up to the platform, and everything functions like,
So it's basically,
seamlessly.
yeah, they sign up to the platform and they could just be getting a lead.
Yeah,
Yeah,
and that's it. And
it's
we
just
install this
they could
on.
get someone connecting with them that they just have to settle the mortgage for.
Yeah, that's it.
Hmm.
And we install it on their website for free, and there's no setup costs or anything like that for them. And so now when somebody is interested in a mortgage, they can just say, "Here, here's my website. you can complete everything that I need from you in less than 5 minutes, and then I can come back to you in 24 hours with
With
a
the
result.
decision.
Or if if it's a lender that has the pre-built credit decisioning stuff, then it could potentially be at the end of the 5 minutes they get the result. So that's more likely to be coming rather than already here for the 5 minute actual approval. But that's what we're working towards. We're working
Yeah.
towards giving people access to this,
Hmm.
the best offers in the shortest amount of time. And the vision for the business is to make applying for a loan, any type of loan, as easy as checking out in an e-commerce store.
Yeah.
So if you just think about, you go on to, doesn't matter, Iconic or any e-commerce store, you look at all the options, clothes or whatever you're looking for, shoes, you pick your size, you say what's right for you, and then you check out. And all of that whole process should take less than 5 minutes, maybe more like 3 minutes on an e-commerce store from start to finish. That's what we're working towards. But yeah, we did start working on and investing in AI very, very early.
Early in the piece, isn't it?
When I started, so I've obviously always been interested in technology,
Hmm.
specifically emerging technology. I'm fascinated by where things are headed more so than where they are. I'm fascinated more by where things are going
Yeah.
more so than where they actually are now. And so, for context, when I started the business 4.5 years ago, the business name incorporated on ASIC and the ABN register is Loan Options AI. And
Yeah.
at the time, it caused all kinds of problems because even the domain name we got registered was LoanOptions.ai. And everybody used to put .au because they
Oh,
think
they thought it was a .au.
yeah. And so customers would be like, hey, your email's bouncing via SMS. I've taken screenshots because I think like they're they're very good memories now when you look back on them. Because at the time, people were like, what is this AI thing? They thought we were crazy. They thought like, what are you talking about? And now everyone's like, oh, like this is what you were working on. And so
Mhm.
we have a really big head start on the industry. We obviously, because there wasn't a path that was paved already, we made lots of mistakes and turned left when we should have turned right and all that kind of stuff. But I feel like now
But
we're
that's natural. Everybody does this, I think. Because
yeah,
I always think when you start a business, right, you think, oh, you sit down today and say, oh my God, that was so obvious. I did that. That was so simple. And now it always looks like that. But at the time, it wasn't that obvious at all. People
100%.
always land somewhere based on various decisioning and paths, but it was never that obvious.
And so
I think back even to myself, I think that wasn't obvious at all at the back in the day.
and I knew the capability this technology had. To be honest with you, I actually thought it was going to come faster than it has. Like I
Hmm.
thought, now like it's exploded. I probably anticipated that was going to explode maybe 2 years prior to when it did, maybe even closer to 3 years.
Yeah.
Um, but now we're seeing the
Yeah.
sort of the virality of like all these different AI tools. There's new ones popping up every single day, and you've got these big players that are launching new things all the time. And for the average person, it's really hard to keep up with. And even for somebody who's maybe got a fairly sophisticated understanding of
Hmm.
AI and been working in it for years now, it's pretty tricky to keep track of everything. But
Because it's also going forward so fast.
that's
You
right.
know, you've got this technology, but then the technology is going rapid fire
And there's
and,
always people saying,
headed.
"Oh, have you seen this new tool?"
Yeah.
And I'm like, "Which one?" And then they'll tell me, and I was like, "I haven't seen that one, but I've seen this one." And they're like, do similar things, and so
Yeah,
it's,
it's
it's really hard
amazing.
to keep track of
Hmm.
everything. But as a business owner, I think one of the things that I've been asked to do a lot recently is like do some talks on AI, and that's because people are trying to filter the noise from like what are the practical things that I can do with
Yeah.
AI.
Hmm.
And I think that we've done a really good job in our business using it across different areas, and I'll talk about some of the specific use cases. But a lot of people, when they think AI, they just think Chat GPT, and this is what I'm telling
Yeah,
everybody.
Chat GPT or Claude or something and getting some social media posts written up. That's pretty much what
And
people
they
do it
use it
for.
to write content, and that's it. ChatGPT and Claude and these other models like Gemini and stuff, they're like the tiniest little part of AI. It's a subset of a subset of a subset of what
Yeah.
AI actually is.
Hmm.
And there's so many different areas that fall under AI. And I'll use some very specific examples of problems that we've had to solve with AI. So we obviously have like credit decisioning engine. We can match the client with the lending criteria of over 90 lenders. We wanted to have a way for us to play in the gray area because a lender has a credit policy, but often a really good broker will get something approved outside of the
Outside
credit
of the
policy.
policy, yeah.
And so, how do you solve for that when you've
Mm.
got just a rules based engine? The answer is you can't really
Hmm.
solve for that. Um, and so AI is really
Because,
good for the gray area because
because
it can look at the historical data and historical deals that are very similar and say, actually, there's a really high probability, even though it's outside criteria of, say, Pepper Finance or Macquarie or whoever, there's a really high chance of
this
approval.
is probably going to go through. Oh, that's fantastic. Because I always thought, the easy ones will be decisions straight away, and
Yes,
everything else will say, "Oh, it needs to go to a human."
human. Yeah.
Exactly.
And you're not far off. That's literally where things are
Because
at right
yeah,
now, right?
mm,
You've got the ability to do the vanilla deals with
straight
automation.
away. Yeah.
And then you've got the edge cases, which I think, within 3 years, I think 80%, 3 to 5 years, 80% of loans, the vanilla ones will be decisioned fully automatically
Hmm.
using AI and
Can you
automation.
imagine? So I come from a banking background,
Yeah.
and taking things through credit was his biggest thing. Biggest thing, it was the biggest bugbear. And I worked in the large end of town. So we had large syndicated, $500 million syndicated debt facilities or something. And getting it through credit would be so tough with the covenants
Yeah.
and even home loans. I worked in private banking as well for a while. And it's so hard. But in these days, it's so much easier because there's so much transparency of information. And also with technology, the speed and accuracy of getting all this information.
Yeah, it is.
Mm,
It's definitely getting easier. From when I first started, you got to remember, like I've been in this industry for 14 years. So although I'm part of the new school, I
yeah.
started when I was 18 in finance. So I got to see the pen and paper generation of the finance industry through to celebrating when we had digital signatures for loan
Yeah.
contracts, and through
I
to
still remember that where people said, "How would that be enforceable?" And
oh,
people, there was a lot of, you know,
resistance. Yeah,
resistance. Yeah, and there wasn't any buy-in for that
I used to.
because people thought they could fraud. Somebody could copy it.
I used to have to fax to ANZ and St George Bank the settlement packs fax machine. Like I'm young enough to know how ridiculous that is, but old enough to actually have
I've
still had to do
used
it.
it.
You
Yeah,
know.
exactly. Oh well, I've
So,
used the fax as well.
but so that's one example. The probability of approval with lenders that enhances our lender matching. That's one. Creating a lead score. So obviously, we at the moment we're getting around 5,000 loan applications through our platform every single month. How do you navigate? How do you filter? How do you know which ones are high intent, which ones are low intent? So we built a lead score model to help
Hmm.
our team filter and funnel and handle the high volume. That's another one. We also had to deal with triaging leads based on availability and capacity of brokers in our team. So
Yeah.
we built a very, very intelligent lead allocation tool, and that uses AI to predict where the lead should be sent based on their conversion rate for that channel.
Ah, okay.
And
Hmm.
so, like, they're very
So
sophisticated
obviously, if you have a
tools.
higher conversion rate, you're going to get more leads.
You'll get more leads from that channel. Yeah. And
Yeah.
so some people are really good at
Interesting.
online leads. Some people are really good at referrals. Some people are really good at different things, self-employed customers versus PAYG customers. And so it feeds into that model. And then we know where to allocate it to
Mm.
increase our probability of converting the,
Right.
the, the loan full stop. And then, other things like we built like a predictive credit score. Like once we have enough information on the client, we can obviously run the real credit score. But until then, we don't have enough information.
Yeah.
So we predict within a certain level of accuracy what their credit score might be. And,
Hmm.
and that helps us understand how to,
It's like
triage
an
the deals.
initial approval, and then you go to due diligence. You got to bring all the actual paperwork,
Yeah. Yeah.
which is
And
good. But at least you know straight away.
that's right. And I'm not saying ChatGPT is a bad thing. It's been amazing for so many businesses. The I'm not saying don't use that, but there's some other really cool things. Like we built very intelligent OCR or optical character
Yeah.
recognition is a form of AI, and you can feed it a document like an ID, and it can
You
read and
read it.
analyze
Yeah.
it, and then pre-fill the data. We built a contextual engine that we can feed it any document,
Hmm.
and it would contextualize it so it knows the document and why this bits of information is relevant to this application. Like a set of company financials, it can actually read profitability, provide
Yeah.
metrics. Are
Hmm.
they over
Because I
leveraged?
use Claude at the moment, and I feed all my financials in there.
Yep.
And it gives me so many reports, my sales stats, gives all these information,
It's
which is
amazing that
pretty
you're doing that.
amazing.
Yeah, yeah.
And it says, "Oh, this person's got to increase this, and this person's got, it individually. It gives me." what people need to do. It's amazing. And I do nothing. I just upload stuff
It's
and
very
ask some
cool.
questions.
It's very cool. And that's why I want more business owners to know what practical ways they can use it and the different ways they can use it. Uploading documents into those models is obviously great. I will caution people from uploading, unique or sensitive information unless you have the enterprise account with these companies. And
Mm,
the reason I say that is effectively, when you upload a document, especially if it's got sensitive information, giving them permission to train their models on your data. And if you're putting in client data or sensitive data, it's obviously a big no-no from a cybersecurity and data protection standpoint. But if you can afford to, and I would suggest that you can't afford not to, is my view. Have the enterprise account. Make sure that you've got them to commit to not training their models on your data. That's obviously what we've done. And then all the data gets purged. You can upload it. It'll give you the output, and then you can
yeah.
purge it.
Because that's pretty much any paid account, right? Like you can have control of your own data.
Mm, the basic $20 subscription with ChatGPT, they can still train their data
Thoughts,
on
yeah.
yours. I'm not sure of all the tiers on Claude, to be honest with you, but I know that the enterprise tiers, you actually have to write to them and say, "Can you please confirm this?" And then they give you like a
Okay.
document that says
Mm,
that your data will not be retained for
utilize,
the
yeah.
purposes of training, etc.
Mm,
Um, and so yeah, if you're just not sure, it's best to ask their support team and do that. But yeah,
it's really interesting. Yeah.
yeah, and so some other use cases, like for example, Anthropic, which is the company that makes Claude, developed this thing. It's like an open source protocol, if you want to call it that, a protocol. Um, it's called Model Context Protocol or MCP. You might see people writing MCP on LinkedIn and things like that. But it's like a standard
Yeah.
that
Mm-hmm.
everyone can use. Business owners can create and talk to AI products, and I think this is going to be huge. It's like uh, any of your business systems or pieces of technology or your CRM can feed information in and back out using this protocol. And I think that's where we're going to see businesses be able to get easy access to using these AI models to do
Yeah.
creative things. Like one of the most successful use cases for us is sales training calls. So we
Mm-hmm.
have a phone recording platform, like a soft phone or IP phone system, and it records and transcribes the calls. We feed it into our train model. The model's trained on successful loans that got settled, so it knows what a good phone call sounds like, a
Okay.
successful one, and what a
Mm.
less than ideal phone call sounds like.
Oh, this is fantastic.
And so it provides real time coaching to our brokers
Cool.
and our salespeople and tells them, hey, you forgot this part of the value proposition. Next time, did you notice the objection that came up? This objection. Here's how you can deal with it next time. And it gives them the summary like as soon as the call's done.
Okay.
And so there's so many different use cases. I think people are
That is the
just,
thing I need to white label from you, Julian.
yeah. Well,
The live review.
yeah, I
Mm.
think
Oh, that'll be
when you've got
awesome.
enough successful phone calls, you know what a good one looks like.
Hmm.
You can also, even if you don't have enough successful phone calls, you can just get it to coach based on best practices, and
Yeah.
then or you might like a specific sales system, and you're
Yeah.
like,
Or you
okay,
might have your own script, so you might have your own information of what it should
what
be.
it should be,
Mm.
and you just doing a one-to-one overlay of like what it should be versus what the
It
actual
is.
phone call was, and it knows what our value proposition is, and it
Mm-hmm.
knows when the broker maybe missed 1 or 2 points of the value proposition, and so it'll prompt them so that in the next phone call they make sure they talk about those 1 or 2 points, and it just increases the likelihood of those
Yeah.
customers
And
transacting.
also, it's great for them, the team itself, because it's a learning opportunity
Oh,
rather
for
than, because
sure,
obviously, I'm not sure about you, but all of our staff, they all got commissions and they all
commissions, yeah.
incentivized. So closing is in both our interests.
Interests,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah, and I think that's one of the reasons why they like it so much, and why
Yeah.
it's been so successful, and why everybody likes using it is because it's providing mutual value. It helps the business because obviously the more loans we settle, that's only how we get paid. Like
Mm.
we're not like an accounting firm where
Yeah.
we
You
we
have
send you an
hours.
invoice and we're billing hours, and regardless of the outcome, or a lawyer, we're no win, no fee. Like that's
Mm.
literally so it's in our interest to get as
Close.
many
Yeah.
successful outcomes as
And
possible.
is this something you built, Julian,
Yeah,
or is it?
yeah,
So
we built.
it's,
Yeah, this is
yeah.
something that we built. Most of our AI systems are proprietary, where we've
Mm-hmm.
built them.
Mm-hmm.
There's some where we leverage, like for example, might leverage OpenAI's LLM,
Mm-hmm.
but we don't actually use a lot of. LLMs. Probably like a lot of businesses would use LLMs more than our business. Like we're an AI business.
Yeah.
We like LLMs,
Hmm.
but for the financial services industry, LLMs have a smaller use case because there's so much risk of
Data.
hallucination and
Yeah.
that kind of stuff. So one really cool LLM product we built is like a knowledge base, and so we took the 90 lenders credit policies,
Hmm.
and they all have specific documents that are relevant to their credit policies, and we put them into a model. And this is actually using a couple of different LLMs, like a hybrid approach. But we essentially ingest all of that, fine tune the model using those lender credit policies, and now somebody can write a natural language question, just like a normal chatbot. Hey, which lender is going to be able to accept 100% of this client's commission, or which lender can accept a 482 visa?
Mm.
Which lender can accept, what would the client's price, who's going to offer the best rate for a client with a 450 credit score and they're not a property
Fantastic.
owner.
Yeah.
So they can
Hmm.
just write a natural language question,
Hmm.
use basically the client scenario,
And
and
then
it
it
will
can
give it
read all
back.
the data
And so
back.
that's cool. That's a cool LLM use case for our business. But it's, in my opinion, not the most impressive one. We have some other cool stuff, but if we're not using our own models, we typically test it across Claude. We'll test it across Gemini. We'll test it across. We don't use the DeepSeek in those, and
Yeah.
that's because there's some security concerns over those
Hmm.
models. But I think OpenAI is usually the most consistently
Yeah.
performing one.
It's so
Um,
interesting, isn't it? Because I'm thinking we're thinking of using. We're just in the process of building an AI tool for connecting our members.
yeah.
You know how when you come into every golf event, we take a lot of time in pairing you up, and same at the table, we put you on different
Mm,
tables with different people. And I always try to seat people where I think there could be business. And most of the time, it happens naturally because you seated you at the right table or next to the right person or something like that. And now I'm thinking, early in the day, it was so easy, Julian, because I used to know everybody. I know everything of what's going on. Now there are so many people that it's really hard. You got to go and read what they do. Sometimes they're brand new members, somebody else has signed up. You're trying to see who they
mm.
are on LinkedIn. So we were trying to create this like matching tool. So it goes and reads everything about them. And we can say, hey, Julian's trying to meet
Oh yeah. I
mortgage
mean,
brokers. And then if there's a mortgage broker, it puts them next to you.
an AI agent
Or there's a
could
car
go and
dealer and that could be sitting next to Julian or something
yeah, yeah, yeah.
along those lines. Yeah.
You could definitely configure an AI agent to go and research their LinkedIn profile, their company website, understand who their ICP is, and then try and
Try
match
to
them.
match
Yeah,
them, yeah, match them, and then we also have all the T sheets and all the seating arrangements. I say try not to put them next to someone they've already played with or
yeah,
already sat next to in the last 3 months or 4 months. Because sometimes it is nice to meet people again,
of
but
course.
I want to create that so it's just boom, it spits it out, and then we have it. So that's what we're doing at the moment.
That's very cool. Yeah, let us know if you need any help with that. I think that there's often these things where you're like, okay, yeah, I can see how you could get that done. It's
Yeah, definitely. I'm going to
AI
pick the
agents is the
brain.
next thing. I think a lot of people have started using them, but I feel like how our organization chart at the moment, like we've got um, leadership team, and then underneath leadership team we've got like brokers, or
Yeah.
salespeople, and
Hmm.
then you've got like broker support functions and like admin and things like that. We're starting from the bottom and working our way up, building AI agents. Every broker can have multiple agents to do multiple things, like some of their admin, some of the
Yeah.
broker support functions. And so eventually our organization chart will be 50%
Just
or
that.
more
Yeah.
AI agents,
Mm.
and it'll expand over time to do more and more. And my view is the technology should get good enough that if somebody leaves from the business, that we, in most cases, won't have to replace. I'm not opposed to that. Like, obviously, want to build a thriving team of great individuals. You can't do it just with AI. Um,
But I think, yeah, allowing AI to support them, I think really means that they're doing higher value tasks.
100%.
They're
Yeah.
thinking rather than
Yeah.
sitting there writing the same thing,
I need
whatever
them
it
for
might
the
be.
human connection piece. I need
Exactly.
them for the
Mm.
relationship piece. I need them for that.
But if
Eh,
they had all these AI, agents, that means they could possibly look after more clients, for example. So
Absolutely.
as you grow, and I always think that for my business, of course, I run events. People need to be there.
Mm,
Somebody's got to give you a name badge. AI is not going to do that. And plus somebody's got to build a relationship.
of
Somebody's got to
course.
connect you there or
Yeah.
see, oh, he doesn't look very happy. Well, Julian, what's
It's a
happening? How
problem.
can we help you? Oh, my scorecard is not correct or my
Yeah.
handicap's wrong. Whatever the situation might be, we need to solve it. But what I actually think this is, doing all these connections means it takes away. we spend so much time on it. We spend 2 full days for each event pairing people up.
Yeah, yeah.
Early in the day, it used to be half a day. Then it's now one day. Now it's like I don't have enough time, so I have to sit down on the TV, and then I have two of my staff sitting there, and I say, "Who's this person?" Because sometimes I know people really well,
Yeah.
but if it's another geography, if someone in Queensland that I haven't met or they're a new member, I don't know much about them. And making my team sit there is a lot easier than me going to LinkedIn and reading all this stuff up because they'll tell you straight away. And we take a lot of pride in putting this T sheet together. But I just think if I didn't have to do that, they could be out there actually doing customer
Yeah,
work. Like
exactly.
they could actually be calling you and giving you something
Yeah.
rather than just be putting you next to someone, which should have done happened it like this, hopefully,
And
or very
if all the
quick.
calls they make are recorded and transcribed using those tools, whether it's, Fathom or Otter
Mm.
or, Fireflies or, any of those tools, right? You can build a knowledge base on each business and each business
And the
owner,
calls, yeah.
and all the calls and all the information feeds into this knowledge base. So then it's when you run this model, this agent to go and sit them next to people,
And this is
you know
fantastic.
exactly all the conversations that you've had, like the last 5 conversations that you and I have had.
Yeah.
You might have forgotten one piece of it, but if the call's recorded, you're like, oh, Julian said he's going to Dubai and he's going here and blah, blah, blah. So then, like, the next time you have a call with me, like it can give you
You
a
have all that
summary. Like,
information
oh,
because at the
don't
moment
forget to
we
ask him it was his daughter's 5th birthday or his son's,
no, I see all of that information on
yeah,
your Instagram,
yeah.
Julian. I don't need to have an AI. But the thing is, right? It's really interesting because yeah, that's what we do. Because every time I have a call, I come out and I have to type all the stuff that I've said, and I usually use like a auto like a
Yeah,
record
yeah,
because voice recording because usually when the meeting's finished, I'm running in the cab to somewhere else and I record things and I send it off to people. And we do have Fathom, which records the calls, but I don't have the intelligent thing that goes and reads all the Fathoms, distills all this data, and does the T sheet. That's the thing. Absolutely, I'm going to have to pick your
yeah,
brains and learn more about it. And one of the other things as well, obviously, I always think that people's mentality, people's ethos, where they come from, has got a lot to do with their background, their family, and their background and where they come from. And I personally am very close to my family. Like I call my sister every morning on the way to work, and I speak to my mom every afternoon. I just call my daughter, who lives in England, every single day. And I know you're similar as well. You're very, very close knit family with your brothers. At least I know because every time you play golf, they're all
they're
there.
with me. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
They're with you. So shed some light on your family and how connected you are and how that come about. And
Yeah, I think just culturally, I think like I'm born and raised in Australia, but both my parents were Lebanese.
mm,
My mum and dad got divorced when I was pretty young, so maybe 12 years old or something. And so single mum raised 5 of us, right? Three
wow.
three boys, 2 girls. You can
Hmm.
imagine that was pretty full on for her.
Hmm.
But it gave our family a closeness or a bond that is very hard to describe unless you see it.
Because I
Um,
see it when you come to our events and I see your brothers and you, and
yeah,
there's always a lot of banter and
lots. Yeah,
betting, and I
yeah.
like that. I like that whole dynamic. Yeah.
We are literally so close. Like 2 of my sisters work in my business,
Hmm.
and my 2 brothers are not in finance. One's a business, or both are business owners himself. One's got a concrete truck, and that's his business. He does quite well. The other one's a builder, and he's got his
Mm.
own business, and he's got quite a few projects. He's also doing quite well. But all of us are so close, and
Yeah.
I don't mean as in like, okay, we see each other every day. We do see each other a lot, but I think we talk every day on WhatsApp and group chats that we're just bantering on and stuff. But we got into they got into golf a little bit before me, both of them,
Yeah.
and I think it's just the nature of their industry.
Hmm.
They in construction,
Obviously, in construction and building, everybody's in
they're on
golf.
job site
Yeah.
really early. They might finish, at two
Yeah.
o'clock, and then there's enough time for 18 holes, and they'll be at the golf course and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
My role's a little bit different, and it's probably a bit harder because they can do that spontaneously. I can't because my calendar's sort of booked
Booked
in
with meetings
advance
and things.
for a
Yeah.
week or sometimes 2 weeks in advance. But yeah, just the closeness. We started playing golf together. We play nearly every Sunday. It, at different points in time, it has been every Sunday, but I've been traveling a lot and
Yeah.
stuff, so it's been a bit harder. But yeah,
That is so fun. I always say a family that golfs together stays together.
yeah,
I
it
actually
is
say that for
good.
my team. I say a team that golfs together stays together
Yeah,
because we are all golfers.
my youngest brother Jeremy, he's most consistently the better one out of us.
Yeah.
But he's played.
He's
We
listening to
cackled.
this podcast, by
Yeah,
the
he
way.
is,
Yeah.
and
He's
he's.
going to play it
I
on
hate.
repeat. He's going to play it on repeat again and again.
I hate that. I have to say that, but him and my older brother, so Jeremy and Charbel, both of them play about 3 times as much as me. We looked
Mhm.
in our golf apps, and but I'm very close to. I'm very close to. Very close to Jeremy in terms of scores. So he's more consistently better
Yeah.
because he's just repetitions and time.
Mm.
But I'm catching them both, even
Yeah.
with less golf than them. So
Oh, there you go.
yeah,
There you go. Now you're part of Imagine Golf. We can be on your team. We can help you. We can help you with this. We
yeah,
can give you some
yeah.
tips to catch up to them.
But yeah, just going back to the closeness, I think for any of my siblings, they know I would literally do everything,
Mhm.
anything and everything for them. It's a hard one to describe, but people say, "Oh, like I would bleed for my family or whatever." Like that's literally how it is for us, and that's not an
Yeah.
exaggeration. We always put each other in front of ourselves,
Mhm.
and that's really values that my mum instilled in us, and we had to be close. We had to look after each other. We had to help my mum around, a
Mhm.
house and with the bills and all that kind of stuff. It wasn't easy for her. So I think if you want to call it trauma bonding, you can, but I feel like
Look,
there's a lot more than that, a lot
yeah.
more to it than just that.
Yeah. Look, we didn't have any trauma per se. Um, my mom and dad were very much in love with one another, and but still, our family we're very, very close.
Close, yeah,
And my sister and my brother we're so tight. And same, we have a WhatsApp group, but not only are we on it, all our kids are on it.
yeah.
So it's my dad's passed away a few years ago. His name was Money, and so it's called the Money Clan. And it's everybody's on it, commenting, and
That's
same. There's a
beautiful.
lot
Yeah,
of banter,
yeah.
and usually we are saying mean things to each other, but in a loving way.
It's much easier.
That's our job, right? You have
Yeah,
to have a bit of banter, but
and
it's
so
not. Yeah.
all except for my younger sister.
Mm.
She's only not even 18 yet. She turns 18 in a few weeks.
Mhm.
Are married and um, only Jeremy. He doesn't have children yet. He just got married in the
Yeah, and
last
your
12
kids are
months,
a
right?
bit too young for that to be on the WhatsApp, I
They're not
think.
on the WhatsApp, but
Yeah, they're too young to have phones.
all the in-laws, like
Yeah.
my sister's husband and my wife and my brother's wives, like everyone gets along, and
Yeah.
they
Oh,
understand.
amazing.
Yeah, they understand that like family is everything. I don't have a
Mhm.
big group of friends. My circle is very small, Raj. And so my friends are my brothers, if that makes sense. I
Mhm.
obviously have friends, and but my
Yeah.
circle is very, very small.
We're very
And
alike, Julian. Same.
yeah.
Because, you look very extroverted, and so do I. I'm very extroverted. I'm talking to
Mhm.
everyone. But the core group is pretty much my family. And I have one or two friends who are very tight. Um, People I've known for many, many years. So it's very good. And look, it's been fantastic to chat to you, learn so much about loan options AI. I knew a lot of it already, but then so many more insights that I've learned about you and your business and your ethos and your family and where you come from. And look, obviously you've won so many awards, and I see you every time in some event or the other getting some award, and congratulations on all of
Thank you.
those. But I want to end this podcast by asking you something, because people always see people getting awards and people always see people doing really, really well. And one of the things I hear you talk about a lot is the hard work that goes behind it. And I'm a big believer. I always say success comes to those who work longer and harder than anybody else. So I just thought maybe you could share some of your thoughts on, your work ethic and, how you believe you've achieved all these things.
I think it comes from a philosophy of mine, which is I don't actually think I'm uniquely gifted or better at any specific thing than anybody else. Like,
Hmm.
I don't think I'm a naturally gifted athlete. So, unless I put in the time on the golf course, how am I expected to be better than someone else, right? It's just,
Yeah.
in fact, I need to put in way more time because my thought is I'm actually slightly worse at everything than everybody else. So, I think that's a unique philosophy. I think some people think they, when they sort of have a level of natural talent or whatever, they think they can just get by doing the bare minimum and that kind of thing. From my point of view, something that was really impactful to me was a quote or a time where Elon Musk spoke about working 80 and 100-hour weeks, because if you do that, then you'll be progressing twice as fast as your colleagues who are equal to you
Hmm.
if they're just doing 40-hour weeks. And so I was like, that makes so much sense. Like, okay,
Yeah.
assuming we're all equal, and there's going to be some natural variation, biological or otherwise, intelligence or anything else. As long as I work harder than everybody else, then I should be able to progress faster. And it's not about beating other people. It's really just personal progress and me versus me, that kind of mentality. But yes, I'm absolutely willing to every single week put in, a small week with very little work would be 60 hours. But most weeks are
Yeah.
80. And there's some weeks where I'm doing 20-hour days. And,
Hmm.
it's like some people have said, oh, but like Monday to Friday, if you're doing, 10-hour days and is still like it's only 50 hours, like, yeah, but that's assuming that I don't
Yeah.
work weekends. Like I
Mm.
work weekends too. I'll work as much as I need to because I know that it will pay off. It won't pay off straight away. But going back to those awards, because some people have made some comments and it makes me sometimes like I don't really care what other people think, but sometimes it makes me upset because it's like for every one award we did win, we didn't win maybe 10. And that's literally the
Yeah.
ratio. We might have entered a whole bunch of awards and didn't win, or we didn't even become a finalist, So when you see us win one, don't forget that we lost 10 to win that one. And it's just, one of those things where you've got to be in it to win.
Absolutely. And also the fact is, look, we've done some of these award applications. It's a pain in the
It
ass. You
is a
got to
pain in the
takes
ass, yeah.
forever to do these. So just the fact that you've done 10 deserves, you deserve at least two medals for that and a couple of awards. But look, never apologize, Julian.
Yeah. No,
Doesn't
no,
matter
I'm
what people
comfortable
think.
with what
Yeah,
we're doing,
absolutely, absolutely. I just brought it up because I like seeing that, and I always like seeing that, and because I always message you or comment and you always
Yeah.
reply back straight away.
Yeah.
And I'm the same. I work 80 to 100-hour
Yeah.
weeks every week, and no matter what time, I'm on 24/7. And I always tell we have a lot of team WhatsApp groups at work, and I always say, please put it on mute,
Yeah.
or you'll only forget it once.
Yeah.
You'll remember
Yeah.
the next time because it goes bing bing. Because I wake up this morning, I woke up at 2:30. I was writing all these notes for my meeting, or I suddenly wake
Mm.
up and work, and I think that's fantastic. And I always think I love that saying, you know, as you work hard at English is my second language, so I've
Your luck
forgotten
gets
the saying,
better.
but
Yeah.
exactly, like your luck gets better as you work harder. But also, I always think somebody could be smarter than me, somebody could be more capable than me, somebody could be more creative than me, but I'm always going to outwork them.
Yeah.
I'm going to
And
outwork them, don't care what they are.
that's the
I'm going to
one
beat
thing
them.
that I can control is
Mm,
my effort. And I think the quote about as you work harder, your luck seems to
mm.
improve. I think that's obviously a
I
tongue
think
in
that
cheek
was,
quote,
I
but
think that was Jack Nicklaus who must have said that.
it's a beautiful quote because it literally a lot of
Yeah.
people will say, oh, you're so lucky this and so like that,
Yeah.
but they
Yeah.
haven't been there where I've like been contemplating life in the fetal position, because that's what business can do to you, and
Absolutely.
so
Absolutely.
it's obviously not very sexy to share that part of it, but being a
Yeah.
business owner means that for every high you see there's been at least 10 lows, and that's not an exaggeration. That's,
Yeah.
if anything, a very conservative estimate. So
And I always find that when I have those lows, I actually come out fighting harder.
yeah,
I go higher. So I always think it's a low. I know what's coming, and that's going to be,
a higher high.
something. Yeah,
Yeah.
high, a highest high. And I've always had that personality and mental fortitude, which I'm lucky for. Touch wood. But look, Julian, that has been fantastic to chat with you. It's been great to know you. I've learned a lot more about you, and look, fabulous. And next time, I look forward to seeing you on a golf course
Yeah,
somewhere.
thank you for having me as part of Emajin. It's like, just such a privilege to play on all the best golf courses and all the best business owners and meet so many great people. So thank you, Raj. I'm
Oh,
very grateful.
fantastic.